Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I am David Allen, or if you like, Super Dave. We are here to talk about Classified 153, the Frag Viper, which is a little bit of a creepy kind of character, more creepier than the vintage variation of the Frag Viper. So, to give you guys a little bit of a hint as to what I was talking about yesterday, you might have been wondering. But yeah, there's some creepiness that they added to this figure. They upgraded him and added some creepiness to it. So let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Good morning, 610 Yo Joe Daddy. What's up, Super Dave? What's up, chat? Good morning to all. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. We got some surprises in this video as we go along, so hang in there with me. We're first going to go into a bit of the history of the Frag Viper, and of course we're going to go to Dan Klingensmith's series of books, Creating G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero by Dan Klingensmith Jr., volume number 4. So first off, we got a couple of beautiful Dave Dorman paintings. Dave Dorman was the presentation artist in the G.I. Joe line from like maybe 86 or 87 to like 90 or so. He did presentation artwork, and the presentation artwork is what they use to present to the higher ups in their line reviews. So they would put these pieces of artwork up there, and they would go through and they would check them off, and they would look at them. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that and stuff. So Dave Dorman was the artist on that. And he also did the covers to G.I. Joe magazine in the 80s as well. Good morning, Terrence Child. Thanks for joining us. Hey, man, another great shirt. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I love this flaming Cobra shirt. There was a time when I was going to use the flaming Cobra as the name of my YouTube channel, but then people told me that that would be too on the money for myself, and so I didn't do it. But I do love this t-shirt. I think it's a really cool t-shirt. Thank you. So let's go into the Frag Viper. Alternate names: N.A. Year release 1989, a later figure. Finally, we're getting into some of these later characters. Designed by Mark Pennington. Mark Pennington was the designer that came after Ron Rudat in 1987. Ron Rudat did design up until 87 and transitioned to Mark Pennington. Mark Pennington was 87 to 89. So Mark Pennington is going to be the main guest at my convention, the Send Flow Joe Show, in April for you guys if you want to meet him. He's one of the nicest people that you'd ever meet in this G.I. Joe community, and he does some beautiful sketches and stuff like that, and he worked in the comic industry on Path from CrossGen, and he's done a lot of good stuff in the comic book world as well as the G.I. Joe world. Let me say good morning to Michael Gene Fleming. Hello, Michael Gene Fleming. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. So let's get into a little bit of the history of the Frag Viper. Again, two beautiful Dave Dorman pieces of artwork there for design, line art. To go up against Hardball, G.I. Joe's multi-shot Grenadier, Greg Bernstein came up with the idea of creating a Cobra Grenadier. To stay true to the nature of Cobra weaponry being 10 or to 15 years in the future, Greg felt that the Frag Viper should have a unique and effective weapon to battle G.I. Joe forces. Now, it's one of the things about the G.I. Joe brand, and it kind of throws a lot of people off. But the reason why a lot of the technology that was in G.I. Joe seems a little futuristic, seems a little fantasy, seems a little out there is because when it started in 1982, it was supposed to be 10 or 15 years from the current capabilities of the military at that point in 82. So that would have been 92, 90, 97 or 98 would have been where they were trying to shoot for in the technology. Obviously, a lot of this is way farther than that. Now, this is more of technology that we would have today in 2026 and not in the late 90s. But that's the thought process that they were going with. So you'll hear in a lot of these panel discussions and stuff like that Kurt Baziging and people would say, yeah, we're looking at 10 to 15 years in the future for a lot of this technology. So I think from 82 to 84, 85, it jumps. There's a bit of a gap in the technology, and I think there's a big gap there. So you could add a couple more years onto that. So that's where you might get to 2000 if you wanted to. That's just my theory on it, because I thought maybe a lot of the 82, 83, and even a little bit of 84 was very realistic, very doable at the time in the 80s for military technology and the weapons and the outfits and a lot of the forts and things like that, all the play sets and stuff. I thought all that was very realistic for the 80s. So I didn't think it was that bad. But yes, definitely in 89, you're definitely getting into the 2000s with some of this technology. And we will get into that with this Frag Viper. So there's some interesting surprises there when it comes to the technology. You have to suspend your disbelief a little bit and kind of think of it as a futuristic type toy line. So I do that because I've been a fan of this line from the beginning, so I know how it's supposed to go. So, and there's your vintage package Frag Viper sitting next to Naugahyde there. And you can see he comes with a lot of gear, and he looks very unique and different from the figures that are being released up until that point. A lot of Cobras started to really go into the future tech and a lot of more advancements with the designs and their equipment and stuff like that. So then the Frag Vipers appear in G.I. Joe Real American Hero issue 92 first, and then they were in the Deke era animation, the 2 seasons of the Deke animated series, which I think is 90 and 91. They did, or maybe it was 91 and 92, because I think Operation Dragonfire was 89, maybe. So Deke was 91 and 92. So the Frag Vipers do appear in Deke in animation that way. Let's see. Michael Gene Fleming. The key things to remember for near future military tech is there is what can be done. We can be doing without private idiot face breaking. Idiot face breaking it. And what can be done that Congress is willing to pay for. Okay. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, Michael Gene Fleming. You're saying that we can only do with what we have the resources for in the present. So if the resources in the future are more, then we can do more. Is that what you're getting out of it? Is that what I'm getting from what you're saying there, Michael Gene Fleming? Trying to paraphrase what you're trying to say there. I hope that covers it. So then we have, of course, let's first get into the vintage figure. The vintage figure, and we have all of his gear on him. So this is one of the few figures that I have everything for it. So we have the Frag Viper there. Let's see. He's a little loose, but he's all right. I have no paint chips or any wear on this. It's in good shape. We have his highlight weapon there, which this is a weird thing because I don't live that far from a highlight place here in Florida. And I always thought, oh man, this highlight, I've never really had an interest in highlight, but I find it really cool that there's a highlight place and we have this figure. Let's see if I can get this on here. It's a weird way to put these on because they have to go over the hand, and I'm trying to do that. Let's see. Can't seem to get it on his hand. His highlight thing. Uh, I don't know. Hmm. I'll have to fiddle around with it, but I can't seem to get it on his hand. But there is this tube that connects to this, goes in there, and then the tube connects into the backpack there. So, and then he holds that on there, and he's supposed to like throw grenades. It's an apparatus where it drops a grenade through the tube, and he throws it. But I can't seem to get that on there. So we're just going to move on for now and get to the classified figure. So there he is. I'll just stick him over there. So let's see. Michael Gene Fleming, there are things that can be theoretically made, but that would either not be sturdy enough for field usage or would be too expensive for the government to actually buy, so we don't see it. That's right. So that makes sense because they did do a lot of these visits to these military type kind of review things where they would see upcoming weapons and upcoming gear and stuff like that. So thing on my eyebrow here. Hold on. There, I got it off. Some dust or something on there. And so they would go and they would see all the upcoming stuff for G.I. Joe. So a lot of this stuff was things that they saw at these line reviews for the military, all the branches of military. So they got different things and they reimagined them in their own way. One of the things is, I think it's the Condor. If you look at a Condor jet from G.I. Joe that's separated into two different parts, there was like a drone at the front, and it always reminds me of that drone satellite thing, that drone thing that flies around and you can take pictures and stuff like that. The Condor looks a lot like that to me. It might not look like that to you guys, but I always thought, oh, so they saw that drone or whatever and thought, oh, this would make a cool looking, fancy looking jet, and they made it into a toy, even though it wasn't supposed to be a jet, it was a drone. It looks very similar to a Condor in my estimation. So that's an example of something like what you're talking about, Michael Gene Fleming. Even though it could be made theoretically, yeah. And that's the thing. So they had models and they had stuff from all these different groups that would pitch things to the military, stuff like that, and the military would fund it and the government would fund it, but it might not be feasible, and they might say, nah, there's too much difficulty, or this too much harm could come from this or that, and then they would do away with it. What's good, you hooligans? Hey, Strictly Cobra, you're a new person in the chat. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it. Then we have Clement. Hey, Clement, good morning. Thanks for joining us again. So that's an interesting discussion, Michael Gene Fleming, the theory about all that stuff. But, you know, it is what it is. So that's where we get a lot of these things that we're going to be getting into in the 90s and the late 80s with a lot of these Cobra troopers. They're very weird science, fringe science on the edges of science and technology. So here we go. Here's your Frag Viper. So just by that artwork, he looks normal. He looks just like his normal figure right there, right? It looks just like it. I think they subdued the orange from this. This looks like more like puke orange, in my opinion. I don't really like it that much. Puce orange, like baby food orange. And then this is a much darker orange, a much more solid orange. So then we have the designations. the target artwork and the QR code. And we're going to go into the designations now and see what that gives us. So we have that missile, which is ordnance. We have the rocket, which is, I think, the rocket is launcher. Then we have the castle, which I think is strategy. And then we have the big explosives. So I think that heavy weapons, actually, not explosive, heavy weapons. And that is the designations for Frag Viper. So then we have his photography artwork by Shooting the Galaxy, Matt and Mike from Shooting the Galaxy, which looks really cool. Then we have a couple of call outs there on the figure. 610 Yojo Daddy. Dave, you seen the new Motu movie trailer that dropped today? Freaking looks amazing. Yeah, I did see it, and it does look amazing. You know, it's one of those things. It's a movie, so they're gonna change things, and it's gonna be upgraded. And I always loved the '80s movie. It's one of my favorite movies, even though it definitely is a little cheesy for its time and stuff like that. I'm gonna wait a little bit more and see what I think about this new movie and see if it hits me. But I'm a big fan of Motu, and I'm just kind of a little picky about certain things. But the way that they did Barbie, I didn't care for, and so I'm hoping this doesn't go down that same way. And it seems like maybe it's going to, and I'm not too happy about that. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, it's definitely going to be more Motu accurate, but I don't want them to spend most of the movie on Earth. You know, they did that in the previous movie, and they've done that with other things, and they did it with Barbie. I want them to be on Eternia. I want to see that fantasy. I want to see like all this stuff, like Avatar, this world, this Eternian world. That's what I really want to see. I don't want to see Earth. I live on Earth, and I know what Earth is like. So I don't know. I'm a little bit. We'll wait and see. Give me 6 months, and I'll watch the movie, and then I'll give you maybe a different opinion. We'll see. Okay. So there's some beautiful artwork back there with some sort of a like golden like statue or something in the back. They've got the Frag Viper there throwing his grenade with the highlight device. And then you can see on that face on there, that's a little bit of the creepiness that I was talking about. We can't really get a great look at that, but look at the dead eyes there. Look at that face. He kind of looks like a zombie almost. And there's a couple other Frag Vipers back here. I don't see anything else there, but it's a nice piece of artwork, I've got to say. And then we have the regular figure with the loadout and everything, and the Cobra Sigil Frag Viper. It doesn't give any names for the Frag Viper. So I'm going to get this out of the package. We'll see what we have. Do you guys like the Frag Viper? Did you guys think they did a good job with this? So we'll put the package down there. So we're up to 153 from the double serial Snake Eyes all the way up to 153 now. And we've done 21 vintage package and 4 legacy 60th anniversary figures so far. So we're doing really good. And here he is in his loadout with everything. Now, right out of the package, I think I can tell he's been upgraded. There's a lot of differences with this figure compared to the vintage one. Just right out of the package, you can tell it's definitely classified up. There's definitely some new details in this. 610 Yojo Daddy. I've heard that it just starts on Earth and then doesn't go back. At least that's what the early screeners have said. We will see. Yeah, see, I'm not I'm not thrilled with that. I want it to be on Eternia. I want it to be in that world. I don't want it to be on Earth. So I'm not happy about that if that's the case. Um, so this is what I was trying to get at. So there's that dead face with those zombie eyes there. You can see, and I know other people have really given this a review, a really good review and stuff, other places, but I'm trying to give mine, and I want to make sure that I give all the details. And look at that. He's just like a zombie. Uh, there's some red in there. There's some like scars where his tears were, like this technology, the stuff on his chin and his lips and stuff that they're very pale, very dead. He looks like he doesn't have any life in there. Like they did something to him and they drained the life out of him. There's two different types of deco on the main body. They've gone with the orange, and then they've gone with like a brownish deco as well that is kind of paired on all that his uniform. You can see the dark brown underneath, the brown on the side of the arms, and a little bit of on the legs. They did add some more black, and then we have a lot of the blue with the secondary, and then he has that familiar harness. From what I understand, you can take this harness off. This is like the commander of the Frag Vipers that gets the harness, and it has a silver little clasp there and the silver Cobra sigil there. So you can get a bunch of these and take this sash off, and you can have a squad, and he's the leader, the one with the sash. So he's got two secondaries on his right and left legs as well, and the secondary that goes all the ways around his main chest with some buckles and silver deco on those as well. He's got some like armaments there on the left arm and another secondary up here on the upper thigh or calf area. He's got a little bit of red deco with some like technology in there. Little apparatuses he's got on the side there that can give him maybe something to control his temperature or something like that. So interesting stuff to give this more of a robotic or more of a lifeless type approach. He's got some deco on his wrists as well with those little knucks that he's got, some technology that he can like turn up maybe or turn down for maybe his temperature or his body functions and things like that. So this is definitely very robotic. A lot of animatronic type stuff with this. Not quite a bat, but like on the way to being a bat almost. Okay, so no comments so far. So all right, so let's get his mask off first. So from what I can see, the mask looks pretty much like the vintage mask. It's very similar to that mask. They kept it almost identical. The mask here has a sheen, and this has a sheen as well. He's got a hose that comes out of it, whereas the other one had a hose, but I guess I don't have that. So this one has a hose. It's very nice. I like the big eyes like it has in the vintage. Has that respirator, that rebreather there on the front, just like the vintage one. It has a nice gloss to it, like a finish to it. It has a little technology all around the sides and the back and the other side to give it a more of a 3D lifelike approach to it, like it actually is something that he would go and use. So I'm going to put that on his head because it looks like it goes over his head, which is very rare for the classified to do a helmet that goes over the head. They don't usually do that, but it looks really good with that on there. Super and the chat. Hope y'all are starting the day well. Thank you, Sean Jones. We are so far. Thank you. Um, Strictly Cobra. Never liked the color scheme on this one. Yeah, I never was a fan of him when I was younger. Like I said, I was waning. I've said before in other videos, I was starting to wane around 87, and I was getting very picky about what I got. And a lot of those weird Cobras, I didn't get all of them because they didn't jump out at me. The colors didn't jump out. The idea didn't jump out and stuff. So I never got some of those Cobras. But I agree with you. That puce color wasn't my favorite color either. This one I don't mind because it looks a lot more like he's like the Florida Gators, or it looks more like an Irish type of a character with the color. It's a lot brighter orange, and has some browns and blues and blacks. So they gave it a little bit of a almost Slaughter's Marauders type thing where they did like the layers and stuff. So it's a very interesting design. I've really been very happy with a lot of the classified decos, the painting and stuff that they do on these, because they do a really good job finding the right balance with the deco and all the paint and everything. So he has the butterflied shoulders. He's got the double pin elbows, the double pin knees. He's got the foot rocker. Let's see. He's got the calf, the extra ankle articulation. He's got the calf and the thigh articulations. He's got the crotch and leg articulation. He's got the ab crunch. He's got the head rocker there. He's got the wrist. And I think he's got the secondary wrist articulation that bends, which not a lot of figures have, but he does not have the secondary articulation in the wrist right around there. So he's got every piece of articulation except for one. But I knew he was going to have that wrist one because with that high-ally weapon, he would need to have a much more flexible wrist. So it makes sense that they gave him that articulation. Let's look at some of his gear. So most of the gear that he comes with is what the vintage one came with. There are some new parts. Obviously, this is the high-ally grenade thrower there, and they decoed it with some silver. There's a lot of detail on that there on all the sides of it. It looks really cool, and it looks very upgraded for the classified line. So then we have his big tube, and it's just a normal tube. I think we've seen these tubes before with some weapons, some accessories, maybe vehicles. I'm not sure. So there's that. So let's see. What are you guys saying? Strictly Cobra. I think the articulation of these classifieds actually rival the SH figure arts. They may, and we'll figure that out in a little while because we're going to have one to show off. Whoa, work is going crazy today. The flexibility of the design team shines here. I've seen almost everyone love the cyborg zombie whatever idea, and that is great for them. It is for them. It is there for them half. I hate the idea, but all I have to do is put the helmet on and never take it back off, and it doesn't exist for nor bother me. Oh, okay. So you're saying because of the zombie aspect of the character that you weren't too fond of when they did that, but because you can put the helmet on, it doesn't bother you that much because you just ignore it and act like it doesn't exist. That's an interesting way of looking at things, Michael Gene Fleming, which is fine, And so we get this little blast effect with a grenade on there, and there's some deco on both sides of that grenade. You can do whatever you want. You can imagine everything the way that you want because this is your the things that you're buying, and you can play with them and do whatever you want. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's the backpack, and I don't think I showed the backpack off on this one, but it's practically identical to the backpack there. And so we'll put that on him. Oops. The hose. hose just fell off from his mask. Oh man, where did that hose go? There it is. There, the hose jumped off. From his mask. So now I got to put that back on. There, I got it back on. And then I have his backpack on there too. So the hose, I think, goes around to there. So now that I have it on the mask, I can put it in the backpack. There. So I put the backpack on and I put the hose connecting to it. There you go. All right. So yeah, everybody can play with this stuff or do whatever they want with it, and whatever canon that you have in your head is perfectly fine. Michael Gene Fleming, there's no problem with that. So I got the rest of the accessories out. He comes with these two little mini Uzis. I don't think we've seen these little guys before. This might be new for him. A lot of the figures this year, there's a lot of new equipment that's coming with them that we've never seen before. So that's it for the accessories. So let's see what we can do with this this highlight weapon. I'm going to try to put it on him. So let's see. So he's got to hold this little apparatus there. There's a little bitty handle. You can see that handle right there. So he's got to hold that handle there. And then this has to go around his arms. And you have to kind of flex these little things open so it goes around his wrist. But I did not get a good movement of that. So let's try this. Oh, there. All right. So I got it around his wrist. And I turned his wrist that way. So I have that on his wrist. So he looks like a big Wolverine with that on there. Mine is definitely staying with the helmet, but I think the cyborg design is unique. It's hard for me not to display any other way when that's what the original figure had. Never had him in 3 3/4. 610 Yujo Daddy. I understand. It makes sense. I'm the same way. Love having him now, though. I'm the same way. I'm displaying them from the interpretation that I had when I was a child, the best that I can, or their vintage versions. So that's what he is to me. So then we're going to take this hose and we're going to plug it into the back. So it goes into the back of the backpack there. I'm just going to be careful I don't knock that hose off his helmet. So I have that in there, and then it plugs into the back of the highlight weapon there. So it connects like that. So you can see there it's connected and it's ready to go. So then this connects to the highlight weapon on the interior to give it the effect that he's throwing a grenade. So you lay this in here, and it's at there's 2 different holes there. So you can act like it's in 2 different positions in the device. So you can, if you did photography or whatever, you can show in different positions that it's firing, like further and further down. Which is interesting that they're incorporating that photography artwork and that possibility that people would do that with this. Trying to get that little doodad in there. There, I got it in there. And so now I have that effect, that firing effect. So I'm going to lift his arm up like that. So you get that effect that it's firing that grenade out of there. And then he's got the 2 sheaths, holsters on the right and left legs. So I'm going to plug in his 2 little mini Uzis in those. 1 and 2. So you got both of the Uzis in there. 1 and 2. So that means that all of his gear is on him, which is a very good thing for me. I like that. I like it when they add all the equipment onto the figure. That's a positive for me for this figure, that you can get everything on him. Um, Not, I'm sure that's not a big thing for most people, but for me it is, because now I have to. He does not come with a weapons crate like most of the other figures. A lot of them came with weapons crate, so you can stash their stuff. But a lot of the newer ones don't. Maybe some of the vehicles do, but the figures don't. So I do like that about him, that he can get all of his gear. Now I'm putting him on a stand to get a nice view. Ugh, except these stands are so difficult to get on. All right, so we got one, two. All right, so we got two stands, 2 feet in the stand. I'll do this. And there is your Frag Viper all put together with his stand. Um, so there you go. You got the Frag Viper all put together. I'm very happy that he has all of his gear on him and that he looks really good. I like the orange and blue, and I like the sash. And I think the updated elements of this character are really cool. That creepiness that they added to it is pretty good. I like. It's something different, and I like the fact that we're getting that with the fringe technology and stuff. We can go back to what we were talking about earlier with Michael Gene Fleming, is the technology that Cobra's using. They are on another level, obviously. GI Joe is using whatever the United States government or whatever our allies or whatever the companies of the United States can come up with in realistic terms, right? But Cobra, because of characters like Dr. Venom, Dr. Mindbender, all this stuff that they're doing with a lot of this with Cobra La, the fringe science is so far beyond. They're doing genetic manipulation. They don't have the rules. Cobra doesn't by the rules when it comes to mad science and fringe technology and all this stuff that GI Joe does. GI Joe is using realistic military applications and science and stuff like that, but Cobra's like so far beyond. So this whole zombie-esque like type thing that they're doing with this guy here makes perfect sense. And the same thing with the Hydra Viper. When we get the Hydra Viper, technically the Hydra Viper is a genetic manipulated trooper that has fins and gills, all this stuff. He's been really pushed. The technology and the science has been pushed. Dr. Mindbender did some crazy stuff with him. And so when we get that, it's going to be like this as well. It's going to be fringe science. It's going to be pushing that layer of technology and fantasy and science, which I look forward to seeing. I hope by next week sometime we will get some maybe some render reveals by the Hasbro team for GI Joe Day, and I'm hoping that's one of them. And I hope that they show him without his mask, because I know he's got a really cool looking mask, but I would like them to do this again where they have the mask off and you get to see what that person inside looks like. Is he going to be blue? Are you going to see gills on his face? What are they going to do with that character? I'm very fascinated to find out, but it is in line with what we've already gotten with the fringe science that we're getting with Dr. Mindbender manipulating his own self, with the bats, with this Frag Viper, with a lot of the cool stuff. We'll put Cobra Allah aside for now, but a lot of the other technology is really going to be interesting to see how they bring that into classified and incorporate those elements with a lot of these characters. Because when you get into this era, the 89, 88, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, they really push the science. They really push the technology. And we're now kind of getting back to where classified started, with those first 5 or 6 or 8 figures that were really pushed to a futuristic, like, sci-fi element, with those blue lasers and big guns and all the golden pads and stuff like that. We're getting into that now. We're kind of they turned the dial down to retro, and then they've slowly been turning the dial back up a little bit each year to get back to where we started, with those first 5 to 8 figures, and maybe even that other Roblox, so maybe 10 or 12 figures. And so I'm thinking in the next couple years we're going to get into some really fun stuff, not only with Iron Grenadiers, with Cobra, and some of the GI Joes as well, with some of the fun technology that some of the Joes have. um, let's see. I need retro Firefly. There's a possibility we're going to be getting another Firefly, a retro, more retro, which it doesn't make sense that they're going to do a third Firefly that is basically the same version. They just keep paring it down further and further. We've gotten two other Fireflies. We got in the early years, like 21 or 22, somewhere around there, much more higher up classified version. And then in the 90s, I guess it is, 610 or Michael Gene Fleming, either one of you correct me, I think Firefly was in the 90s. They pared him down and they made him a little bit more reasonable. So now if they go retro package and make him exactly like his vintage, that's another step down for that, which I'm like, why? Why do we need a third version of that same type of thing? I don't know. I'm not too happy about it. Second Firefly was awesome. Yeah. So why do we need one, Strictly Cobra? Answer me that question. 92 and 93 for Firefly version 2 and version 3. Yeah. So I would prefer the 92, 93 green and black, or light green and black version, and have the helmet come off and have it Firefly's helmet like they did in the comics, and do the whole blurred master, or the what else was he was called, the I always forget his other name. I call him the blurred master, but he's called the something else, and I can't remember what his other name is. But yes, he was in the 90s. His other figure was in the 90s. Yes. Yep. Faceless Master, that's it. I can never remember his other name because I just call him the Blurred Master all the time, and it's stuck in my head over the years. But he is the Faceless Master, and it's where he moves his face so quickly like this, and you can't tell in a photography photo that it's him. So he's called the Faceless Master. And so when they take his helmet off, it's Firefly underneath, and he gives that whole explanation that he was there during the whole Storm Shadow Snake Eyes origin, and the whole thing with Zartan and the Hard Master's death and everything. So I love that about him, that he's connected to the Arashikage, because he was in another clan that was like an ally clan to the Arashikage, I believe. Because I need a Firefly in retro packaging, I would be fine with a re-release of the second one in cardback. I gotcha. So you want all the characters to be in vintage package. That's what you want, because you want those vintage package versions. I gotcha. Okay, well, that's fine. So there's a rumor of 6 figures coming out that we have rumblings on this year for vintage package, Strictly Cobra. The number one is Wild Bill, of course. Fireflies, number 2. Then Ripcord, vintage version of Ripcord, not the Night Force. Then there's rumor of another Zorana, a more Deke inspired, with more green and stuff like that, and a more pared down Zorana, vintage style. There's also rumor of Techno Viper, and there's rumor of Who's the other one? I don't know. There was another one. I can't remember who the other one was. But I think we're going to get at least 9 more this year, retro package figures. So hold on to that for yourself, Strictly Cobra, because I think they're going to do 3 retro package figures every 5 classified mainline. So you're going to get 5 mainline classified and then 3 retro. So they're going to do 8 figures every quarter. So we pre-ordered those 8 figures already in October and November, and people are already getting the retro package. Crimson Guard female, Crazy Legs retro, and Zap retro. So there you go. Maybe Flash will be a retro figure. Who knows? But he's still out there in the ether as a figure that may be coming this year. We haven't seen anything with him yet. Hey, Brandon, thanks for joining us. Yeah. So I think we're going to get 9 figures. So we're going to get the fall ones we pre-ordered in winter, and then in the spring we'll get another 3, and then the summer another 3, in the fall another 3, and it'll be like that. You'll get some revealed at GI Joe Day and Toy Fair, and then some will be revealed at probably around Yojo June, and then some will be revealed at New York Comic Con. So there's your 3 different periods, and then in the fall we'll get another batch for winter. So every quarter you'll get 3, and there's a lot of them coming. Frag Viper rocks prefer to the no helmet look myself, like a Gen 3 synth from Fallout. Yeah, see, there you go, Brandon. You have an idea of what we're doing with this character. So I wanted to show off something that I got in the other day, something new from Haya, my next Haya reveal, and that is Torpedo. And so there's that beautiful artwork, and there's a beautiful torpedo, and I'm going to look at all the articulation points. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 points of articulation on Haya figures on this one. And he looks really good. So there's some photography artwork there. He looks really nice. He's got a lot of gear. Look at all the gear that comes with him. I think that artwork looks really nice. And I think it's a beautiful figure, I must say. It's a lot lighter than Torpedo, I thought. He would be grayer, but they made him a little whiter. And I like all the little red highlights, similar to the classified one. So there's some really good stuff in there. They did a good job. I'm glad that they're getting all these Haya figures. They're expensive, but I'm glad that I'm trying to get as many as I can. If anybody has a Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow at a decent price in the chat, or knows anybody that has them at a decent price, I would like to get them, because I was not able to order them when they first came out, and I missed them. The first 2. I've been getting all the ones since, but the first 2, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, I missed. So anybody in the chat that has a Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, and they're willing to sell it at a decent price, let me know. Text me or message me at David T. Allen on Messenger. All right, so because we got the Frag Viper, we got 154 coming up next, and it's one of my all-time favorite characters. And I've been waiting for this character for a long, long time. So I'm going to go really deep into this character when we get to this next video. But it is a Joe. And if you've watched some of my top 10 videos and favorite videos and stuff, you'll see I'm going to be very critical of this particular figure because of my love of this character. So I look forward to that. Haya, not for me, for too expensive in Canada, given the value of snow pesos these days. Very funny, Brandon. I'm sorry. I'm surprised. I would think Haya would be a little cheaper because there's a big Asian market in Canada, and there's a large Asian population over there, and they get a lot of stuff from Asia, because I've been to Canada probably about 15 times, and I find a lot of food there and a lot of other stuff there that's Asian uh, in that Asian world, and it's cheaper in Canada when I go there than it is in America. So I would think Haya would be a little cheaper in Canada than it would be here. But I don't know what the tariffs are between Asia and Canada, so I don't know. That's an interesting thing, though. Yeah, it's all illegal bootleg stuff. Oh, okay. That's why it's cheaper. I gotcha. Yeah, because we got a lot of that type of stuff too here in flea markets and shopping malls and stuff like that. When you do that, the touristy type stuff, I guess, is what you're referring to, where people see in these little street malls and things like that, flea markets. It's a lot of that type of stuff. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, high has been tricky. It's been a tricky one for me. But I'm up to about 20, 21, maybe 22. I know they're getting close to 40 now, so I'm about halfway with it. So, and they're very late. They'll show it off. Like we just got the Tiger Force Outback showed off last week, right? We probably won't see that till 2027 if we're lucky. Because this torpedo, I would say, was maybe last year around this time. So it's been about a year it took to get it. So I don't know. I know I'm never going to probably get the Pimp Daddy Destro that was the convention exclusive over there in China. I probably will never get that. That's that box set. I don't know if it's on eBay or whatever, but it's very expensive. So I doubt I'll ever have a complete set of Haya figures because that's astronomically priced. So what else is going on? Oh, my voice is going a little hoarse. So I talked about my convention a little bit earlier. So the Senflo Joe show in Central Florida, April 19th. Again, if you're able to make it, please do. The people that are in South Georgia, South Alabama, and all over Florida, it's going to be a really wonderful G.I. Joe experience for all those that attend, and I hope you're able to. I was really looking into getting Haya, but they took so long to ship stuff that I kind of lost enthusiasm for them. May try to circle back in at some time, but I'm prioritizing other things right now. Yeah, that's what it comes down to, Michael Gene Fleming. You know, I'm an all-in collector, and I try to get as much as I can that's GI Joe themed to support these companies so we can keep getting more. So yeah, I'm at the time that it started, I was into some other things and I was prioritizing things at that point. That's why I missed Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. But after that, I was like, whoa, they're going to do more of these. So I want to keep up with it because they're G.I. Joe figures, they're toys. So I want it. You know, maybe I could skip over the Snake Eyes origin letter cutter or those big coins that were from Switzerland or whatever, that type of stuff. Maybe I could skip that stuff. But if it's an action figure and a toy, I want to try to get it. Dave, I wish I can come over. Yeah, I wish you could too, Clement. Um, see if you can save some money and take a vacation. And you can take a month-long vacation or 2-month-long vacation, and then you can come to my show in Florida and do all the Florida stuff and have yourself a wonderful time for a couple of months. And then come to Joe Fest at the end of June in Georgia, which is just one state above Florida. And then you can go back. So take like a 2-month vacation. Okay, Clement? I don't know if you have the money for that. How much was my torpedo? It was like $27.99. But then the shipping is where it hits you because it's coming from an overseas vendor. So that's where it's a little more expensive. But the actual price was only $27.99. It wasn't that expensive, Brandon. And I've been getting all of them. They've been coming one by one by one. Maybe I'll do a Haya episode and show you guys all the stuff. Because I got about 20 of them right now. The 1/8 Haya torpedo is $59.97 from one dealer here. Oh, wow. That's a lot of money, Brandon, in Canada. I wonder if that includes the shipping. Love the great statues of Florida and states of Georgia and Florida. Hey, thank you very much, Brandon. Florida, we're kind of almost in our own world down here in Florida, because a lot of the rest of the country is, it's burning down. But Florida, thanks to our governor, is really helping the people here in Florida. And so I travel to Georgia a lot of times through the years, and it's kind of like my second home almost right now. So I think you would enjoy it down here if you ever came down here. A lot of people are snowbirds. They come from Canada. They stay down here half the year. They go back to Canada. We have friends in Canada that come visit us all the time down here. It's a nice place. If you can, come down, visit, and if you like it, stay. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, so it was $27.99. Then the shipping and handling, so it might have been a little bit more than that. But overall, it's good. I've spent different prices on different Hayas. Like some of them, I spent like $60 because I was buying them from a vendor in the United States, so I was getting a couple of them that way. But most of them from the company I'm buying from now, they're $27.99 each single figure, and then there's shipping and so on. So if you order a bunch at once, it may be like $400, but if you add it all up, it's better. So that's what I did. I spent like, I think $460, and I bought like 20 or so figures, and they've been shipping them one by one by one by one. How hot is it there in Florida, Clement? Depends on the time of year, just like in Africa. I'm sure it's hotter at some points and then it's colder at some points. Right now, we're in our winter right now. So if you come down between, I would say, November, December, January, February, March, beautiful, beautiful time of the year. If you're down here in May, June, July, August, September, October, maybe not that beautiful. Depends on if you like hot weather or not. But yeah, so half the year it's beautiful, wonderful. Half the year it's rainy or hot or muggy or a little steamy, I would say. And then Brandon, you have 4 condo timeshares in Florida? Wow. Come and use those timeshares. What do you got timeshares if you're not coming down here? Santa Rosa, Florida was nice. I was drunk on the beach at 8 a.m. Oh, for spring break? You came down for spring break? We go down in April every year. Oh, good, Brandon. Well, there you go. That's the perfect time to come down for my convention. It's in April. It's awesome. Yeah. Well, there you go. I like that. Come visit me in Brandon, April 19th, Deltona, Florida. Write that down. The center at Deltona. And you can go on vacation and get some G.I. Joes at the same time. I think it's the best of both worlds. So there you go. Yeah, it's beautiful most of the time. I've been down here since 92. My mom and dad moved us all down here, and I've been down here ever since. We did have some snow last week. If you saw some of the pictures in social media and stuff, people were showing snow, which it has snowed in the past, but not that often. Yeah, we talked about that. I'll see what I can do. Depends on kids' sports schedules and stuff like that. Oh, that's right. You're coming down for the cheerleading, right? At the Wide World of Sports. I forgot about that. So you're going to be coming down for that. And well, just tell your wife you need or your family you need a dad day, and you go off and come on up here. Text me and I'll give you the directions. It's not that far. It's about an hour from the Wide World of Sports. It's not too bad. Strictly Cobra. The drive got me next time I go through Chattanooga. I'm pointing number 3 on the doors and wearing a crash helmet. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky with the drive. Yeah. Yep. Lenny Honda, yo Joe. Thanks for joining us. Michael G. Fleming. I remember going to 2004 JoeCon at Disney World. Our room was in the second building next to the main hotel. Going in and out of the AC to the July Floridian heat and back was a little rough on the body. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to go, stay inside if you can help it. Driving in that heat is tricky. That's why my show is in April. So it's beautiful in April. It's not that hot, but it's not cold and it's not rainy. It's the perfect time in April, mid-April. Um, let's see. Nice. Have to buy new truck now. 2 engines seized on my 2012 2 days ago. Gonna be yeah, I'm sorry about that. I put my car in to have it overhauled a couple weeks ago, and it's probably going to cost me a lot of money, but I don't have any payments on it. I've owned my car since like 2004, and so I've never had payments. So periodically, I just do an overhaul and I put it in and fix a bunch of stuff because it's a 90 car and it's a sports car. So it's a classic, and I don't want to let it fall. So it costs a little bit more money to keep it up to specs and stuff like that. But I understand what you're talking about. I got my bill today for my car, and it was a little high as well. That sucks, Brandon. Cars ain't what they used to be. Yep, that's true. No worries, that's fine. What kind of sports car you have? I have a Mustang, a 98 Mustang. 2-door coupe, uh, 2-door coupe, and I've done a lot of work on it. I've added a spoiler to it. I've done a complete custom paint job, black, and I've put a new engine in it. And every like 2 or 3 years, I go and I have it put in and have it all checked and have the tires redone and a whole bunch of stuff I do to keep it up to code for myself because I drive that car a lot, but it's a sports car and it's an old car, but I have no payments on it. So periodically, every 3 years, I'll have to pay a bill to get it upgraded and checked out and everything, but that's fine since I don't have payments on it. So that's what I recommend people do. Find a new used car, get it paid off quickly, and keep it up to code. A nice car that you would want. Nice, don't get like normal car. Get a nice car and get it paid off quick, and then keep it up to code, and then you'll be all right. You have a nice car the rest of your life if you do it that way. That's what I'm doing. How old is my car? It's 28 years. So it was a 98. So let's see, 98, 2008, 2018. Yeah, so 29 years actually. So it's 29 years, Clement. Nice, Dave. I went with the Yamaha R6 to get my speed fix. There you go. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Something because I'm in my 50s, now I may not look like I'm in my 50s, but I am. So, I don't have children. I don't have to deal with too much problems. I own my home. I own my car. No kids, no pets. So I can do a little bit of, fun stuff like that. Spoil myself in my older age. My summer car is a 2010 Genesis Coupe Track Edition, real rocket until I turned to drag race and a Tesla Model S one time, tail between my legs. Wow. Well, don't be doing that, Brandon. Keep it nice. Drive it casually. It doesn't need to. 47 here, 3 kids. Yeah. So that's the tricky part is when you have the kids. I tried to have kids one time. Didn't work out for me. But so I'm kind of looking at it as a blessing. I can just do stuff for my nieces and nephews, my friends' kids and things. So I don't need to worry about it. I'm a big kid. You know what they say, Toys R Us, right? I'm a big kid now. All right, so that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys in the chat, hanging out, chit-chatting, talking G.I. Joe with me. Look forward to that next video. It's going to be a really big deep dive because it's one of my favorite characters. I thank everybody in the chat. As always, you guys are wonderful. Thank you for adding to the chat, adding to the conversation. It makes this a lot easier on me, and it makes it fun and enjoyable. I love everybody after the fact joining us in the replay crew and commenting and asking questions as well. 49, 2 kids. There you go. So you guys are all 4 or 5 years younger than me. But, you know, we're all in the same ballpark. You guys were probably G.I. Joe fans around 87, 86, I would guess, because you're 4 or 5 years behind me. So I was a 82 kid, 83 kid. So I think that does it. So thank you. And this is a Cobra video. So we're going to do 47 3 kids full custody. Wow. Oh, that's right. 610 Yojo Daddy is also in the same boat you guys are, except he only has one spouse in his camp, which is tougher, which is a lot tougher. I don't envy you there, 610 Yojo Daddy. Hopefully the kids are treating you pretty good and not giving you too much stress. Yep, 85, 86, 87, 88. We're my Joe years. Yep. There you go. Great show, Dave. Thank you very much. There you go. All right, guys. So this is a big Cobra video. So, Hail Cobra! We'll see you guys next time. Take care.